Let's talk about something really important. Crowd control agents, like tear gas and pepper spray, they can be a reality at some demonstrations. Knowing how to prepare for them and exactly what to do if you're exposed is absolutely crucial. So let's dive right in and break down how to stay safe. Welcome back. This is part 4 of our 5-part series, The Peaceful Protest Safety Guide. So far, we've covered getting prepared and understanding surveillance. Today, we're tackling one of the most intense situations you might face: what to do when chemical agents are used. Getting this right is so important for your well-being. Okay, picture it. Chaos erupts, and there's a sudden cloud of gas. It's a really jarring moment, and honestly, panic is a totally natural reaction. But having a clear plan can change everything. The whole point of this explainer is to give you that plan so you can act with purpose instead of just reacting to the fear. So let's start with what is maybe the most important rule of all. The best way to deal with chemical agents is to make sure they have as little effect on you as possible in the first place. And that all comes down to what you wear and what you bring with you. It's pretty wild how small choices here can have a massive impact. Take contact lenses, for example. You might not even think about it, but they can literally trap chemical agents right against your eye, which can cause serious damage. That's why glasses are a much safer bet. And the same idea applies to your clothes. Synthetics can sometimes melt or react with chemicals, while natural fibers like cotton, they're the way to go. I want you to think of this as your personal portable first aid station, but one that's designed specifically for this scenario. That spray bottle, it's key for flushing your eyes because it gives you a controlled stream, not just a wasteful splash. The liquid antacid is your secret weapon against pepper spray. And those sealed plastic bags, absolutely non-negotiable. You have to isolate contaminated gear to stop it from affecting you or anyone else later on. All right, so you've done all your prep, but you still get exposed. It happens. The next few minutes are critical. So let's walk through the immediate action plan, step by step. I really cannot stress this enough. The pain, the confusion, it is intense, but it is designed to be temporary. If you panic, your heart rate goes up, you start breathing faster, and you just pull more of the agent into your system. Taking a controlled breath and focusing on your plan is your first and your best move. So here's the thing. You have to fight your most basic instinct. Your body is going to be screaming at you to rub the burning away, but you're actually just making it so much worse. These chemicals are often like tiny crystals or are oil-based, and rubbing just grinds them into your pores and pushes them deeper into your eyes. So whatever you do, hands off your face. This whole process just builds logically, one step on top of the other. Your number one priority is getting to fresh air. Always try to move upwind away from where the gas is coming from. And remember our rule, hands off your face. When you get to flushing your eyes, the trick is to tilt your head so the water runs away from your face, not into your other eye. Then it's all about rinsing your skin and, as soon as you possibly can, getting into those clean clothes you brought in your kit. Okay, this is a super important difference. Tear gas is often an oil-based agent, and if you use soap, it can actually spread that oil around and make the irritation worse. So just use cool water. That's it. Pepper spray, on the other hand, has that capsaicin in it. For that, applying a liquid antacid for about 15 seconds before you rinse can seriously neutralize the burn. It makes a huge difference. And listen, the decontamination doesn't stop when you leave the protest. You have to handle your clothes carefully, ideally outside, and seal them up in a bag right away. Wash them separately, and, this is a big one, use cold water. Hot water can actually reactivate the chemical agents and release them as a vapor. Then when you shower, think top down. Let the water run down and away from your body, not up toward your face. Okay, so now you've got a personal action plan for what to do if you get exposed. But an even better skill? Avoiding it completely. And this means we need to zoom out from your personal space to the bigger picture, reading the environment and understanding what's happening in the crowd. I want you to start thinking of yourself as an active observer, not just a participant. Never let yourself get into a position where there's only one way out. Staying near the edges of a crowd gives you room to move. And here's a huge signal. If you see law enforcement putting on gas masks, that is your cue to calmly and immediately leave that area. Don't wait. Here is a specific tactic that you absolutely need to be able to recognize. It's called kettling. You might also hear it called encirclement. It is incredibly dangerous because it traps you, completely removing your ability to leave. If you see police lines forming on multiple sides of the crowd, that is a major red flag. Find an exit before they're all closed off. A stampede is one of the most dangerous things that can happen in any dense crowd. Trying to fight the momentum is a losing battle. You just can't win. The key is to move with the flow, but diagonally, slowly working your way to the edge. And if you do fall, and this is critical, protecting your head and your lungs is the absolute priority. Curl up into the tightest ball you can. This all brings us to a really crucial idea. Your personal safety is deeply, deeply connected to the safety of everyone around you. Your actions can either raise the temperature of the whole situation, or they can help bring it down. Believe it or not, your calm demeanor can actually be contagious. When you see someone who's panicking, your steadiness can help ground them. And discouraging stuff like throwing things, that isn't about telling people what to do. It's about preventing a response that could end up hurting everyone. Every single act of assistance strengthens the entire group and makes everyone safer. And really, this is the big takeaway. All of this preparation, the gear, the first aid kits, the plans, the awareness, it isn't a sign that you expect the worst to happen. It's a sign of your commitment. It's about making sure you can stay safe enough to continue to show up and advocate for what you believe in, time and time again. At the end of the day, please remember this. Protecting yourself is not a selfish act. It is the very thing that allows you to remain an active participant, to have your voice heard. Your voice matters, and taking these steps ensures it won't be silenced. So prepare well, stay aware, and please stay safe.